Hey guys, welcome back. This is session 8 of Shadows of Darkain. So, some house notes as usual. For this one, I'm going back to using one-page Mythic with its action and descriptors. It's fairly simple Oracle D100 system. I bought this new tray while I was out doing some RPG shopping. I got maze rats here on the side, got our notes, battle map in case we're in the town somewhere, and our characters. But not just the dice tray. I found something completely random out in the wild I did not expect to find. At my favorite RPG store, which also doubles as a tabletop store, I found Dungeon World. Now, I knew of Dungeon World in basic form. I know about it's similar. It's a 2d6 system with this up to 6 is fail, 7 to 9 is partial success, 10 plus is complete success. World of Dungeons, which is one of my favorite one-page RPGs, is based off of it. And after going through some of the pages here, it is a very simple game. Watching some videos how to plays, and to be deadly honest with you, I feel like using this for this campaign once I get to session 10. I'm thinking about it. So I'm going to work for the next few episodes with the usual maze rats. And if there are no objections, which I'm assuming there might be one or two, I might put this on the table and decide on it to see if it's worth going to World Dungeons, because this game looks fantastic. Again, it's my favorite 2d6, it's my favorite type of system, 2d6, and it's a huge book with plenty of content and very simple rules. There is no initiative for combat, it is strictly narrative driven. So, with that being said, if we run into combat in this session, I'm going to try that take. I won't do initiative, I'm going to do it based on narrative and the circumstances of the story itself, of the encounter. So, that's just something I wanted to mention right off the bat. Okay, this episode will be entirely focused on Red. Alright, so Red recently jumped in to this back alley that's a mixture of backyards, an alleyway, there is trash, there's wandering cats, rodents. It's completely disregarded. It's just filthy, which I mentioned in the last episode. Also, the city guard he was unfortunately spotted by saw him trying to jump over the wall, but because he is rather short, this is Red we're talking about, he was spotted, struggled because we failed to roll, and made a deal with the guard after a short discussion that he wants what he's doing is for the good of the city, and he promises to be back as quick as he can. So the guard gives him 5 minutes. So however that 5 minutes will spread, if it's going to be the Frieza saga from Dragon Ball Z, I don't know how many episodes it'll be, but I'm going to try to keep it at least the length of this episode, or at least half the episode, because I'm more interested in what's going on with Red compared to the team. So we're right here. We jumped in, and now he's on the ground. He landed on a crate. There's this plot convenient crate placed near the wall, and he's looking around. Obviously, he has to go straight. He knows he has to go north. He looks at the sun, and he tries to keep an eye on where the sun is positioned at the moment, as it's in the wet. It's let's say time of day. It's currently, I think it's mid-afternoon. Yep, it's mid-afternoon. And we're in the alleyway, just west of the shrubbery, this land that the castle's on. So he's walking slowly, looking around, making sure there's nobody ahead of him. There's no one to see him. Now, let's see if there are any windows that he has to watch out for in the back of these homes, of these buildings. I'm going to say on the Mythic here, there's likely going to be windows. So that's going to be a 96. It's just that bad of an alleyway that they don't even want to have windows to see out there. So again, this alleyway is just terrible, in terrible condition. So that's a no. That's actually a very extreme no, which means I'm thinking that it's so bad, there's no windows, that there's not much light, sunlight either. I'm thinking that he barely is able to see the sun because of the heavy trees that have grown here for millennia. Like there is a lot of trees that branch over from the land, from the shrubbery, over the alleyway. And maybe there's so many weeds growing through the alley, through the concrete or the cobblestone, that not the concrete, the cobblestone, that he's being careful. He's trying to be careful where he walks. So he needs to get to here, and let's roll to see if he can do that in a simple dexterity roll. So +2 with his dexterity. I'm sorry, I should probably use the big giant dice tray I have here. But a 9 plus a 2 is a standard success, 11. So he's easily able to get to at least a halfway point. By memory, he's thinking this is where it's going to line up with the halfway point of the castle's entire area in square footage. So he stops, and he's looking on the wall to see if the wall, I'm assuming the wall is the same height than before, so maybe it's 6 feet high, 6.5 feet tall. So he's too short. He's looking to see if there's any crates or anything he can step up on. He's looking around. Is there anything for him to step up on? I'm going to say very likely 60. There is something for him to step up on. So, because that's a kind of it's a somewhat a yes, like it's a weak yes-ish. I'm going to say that there's like a lineup of old picture frames against the building, whichever house he's behind. There's like 5 or 6 empty picture frames, and then there's a large box right next to it. So he's going to look at this box to see if it's sturdy. Or I'm sorry, it's not a box, it's a crate. It's old wooden crate that has no top, and it's like filled with pus and moss and rainwater that's dripping off. So this thing has been obviously open for years, and there's like dirt in it. It's just disgusting to look at and think about. So he's like, well, he could tip it over, empty the water out to take the crate, or he can use the picture frames to kind of make steps and line it against the wall. He's thinking he's going to use the picture frames. So the picture frames are roughly 2 to 3 feet tall when they're standing up on the floor. He takes the picture frames, he lines them up, and luckily the picture frames are about this thick each. He lines them up as they descend, kind of like steps. So he's able to put some rocks or some footing against the bottom of the picture frames on the floor so they don't slide down, they don't fall down when he walks on them. He finds some like pieces of wood, a broken rake to foot the bottom of the frame. So, and there's even part in the cobblestone where there's a divide, and the picture frame kind of conveniently fits in between. So he climbs up. There's no roll for this. And as he climbs up, his head is about to poke over. He slowly looks over the. Let's write this down. So. So he's looking over. This is a pretty significant moment. And as he's looking over slowly, does he have any view of the west door that he's entirely looking for? I'm going to say likely. You know what? Actually 50-50. I just don't know. There's trees, there's anything in the way to obstruct his vision. So I'm going to say 50-50. Oh my gosh, that's a solid 2. So there is a clean view of the door, and what he sees is not only the door itself and a path. There's a break point between the trees as they grow, and kind of there's a spot in the tree line that dies out. Like it's just dead plants. There's a lot of shrubbery and shrubs and plants and roots and weeds and everything kind of mixed in between. not very well maintained for the exterior of this castle, especially on this side. So he can see the door, and are there guards at that doorway? I'm going to say nearly certain there's always a guard there. At least one. 63. Yep, there is. So, as he's looking at the door, let's see what the guard or guards are doing. Let's roll for action. I'm sorry, I keep forgetting to roll in here. I'm just too used to rolling on the paper here. 4. Benefit, okay. And the scripter, 85. Ruined. Benefit is ruined. So, one of the guards is talking to the other about one of their weapons is broken. So perhaps his holster or his sheath, whatever it's called, that you put the sword into. I think it's called the sheath. You unsheath the sword, but it's torn. So they're just they're just having small talk. They're talking about one of the guards' holster, the sheath for the sword is ripped, and he can't put his sword in, so he has to hold it all the time or grip it on the side. And the other guards just kind of agreeing with him, like that's pretty inconvenient. So they are distracted. Now, Red is trying to keep an eye on the patterns of how they act and what they're doing, and he's trying to spot the conditions of the path itself that circles the castle walls. He's also trying to analyze the door itself. So I will write that there are 2 guards posted outside the door itself. And the door, we'll do a similar to what's a perception roll to see how the door looks, what kind of door it is, if it is an iron door with a huge padlock on it, chains, or is it a wooden door with one of those sliding wooden pieces on it. We'll see. And that's a 5 with a +1, so a 6. You know what? I'm going to roll with advantage because the fact that from earlier we interpreted that we're able to see fairly clearly straight ahead at what kind of door it is. So I'll give him an extra 1 on top of that overall sum. So kind of giving him a little extra kick here. So +1 with the willpower, that's 4, 5, 6, 7. He's barely able to tell, as the guards, maybe they're standing up and they got in the way of the door, like they have very heavy wares on, like large capes. The Royal Guard, they're well dressed, red long capes, and they're kind of blocking the door. They're very big, tall guards, like they're fully knighted, and they're blocking the door itself, but he can kind of tell that the door is gray, so he's thinking it's an iron door of sorts. He briefly sees that because I rolled a partial success, there has to be 1 handicap. He does see that the door has a little frame in it. So it's an iron door with a window, with a barred window with bars. But he can't tell if it's locked or if it's like a push door or if it's padlocked. The guards are there all the time. It's just he can't tell because the guards are blocking the view. That's all he can really tell about the door. But because I rolled a failing move, the guard from earlier, the city guard, looks over the wall and sees, out of curiosity, he sees in the distance through the plants and the trees in the back alley. He sees Red peeking over and kind of tries to not shout but go, "Oi!" like really quiet, kind of like a whisper yell, if that makes sense. He's like, "Psst, oi, hey, you! What are you doing? Your 5 minutes are up." He's trying to shout, and he looks over. He crouches down, looks at the guard, and goes, "Shh," tries to shush him. He says, "Quiet." He tries to like say it really loud, but as we know, he rambles on. He's like, "Quiet! I'm trying to work here. What are you doing?" Quiet. And then he peeks over a bit. The city guard is looking, and I don't think the city guard can see the royal guards blocking the standing guard at the door, so I'm not going to roll for that. He's like, "What are you looking at?" And Red is trying to tell him to keep it down. Now the guards, the royal guards, do they hear the shushing and the rambling and everything else that's going on? I'm going to say very unlikely, because they're talking to each other. Ooh, 24. Very unlikely. That is a yes. That's barely a yes. The royal guards, get alerted. They look around. They start hearing noises. But because it's such a weak yes, and I'm thinking that Red head is down, looking at City Guard to the right. The royal guards simply just get alerted by the sound of voices. They look around. They're kind of like, what was that? You know, it must have been the wind. Like they're basically doing the Skyrim thing. They're walking around going, what was that? I heard something. And so the royal guard get alerted, but they don't know where the noise is coming from. And then the city guard, he does this, or not. I probably wouldn't do that. He does this like 5 minutes. Come on, tell him to come back. Red gives a thumbs up, like okay. He quickly looks over, and do the guards? I'm gonna roll for this with advantage. Well, I'm gonna give him an advantage for this one because it's athletic. He's gonna quickly glance to see if the guards saw or heard anything. We know who they did. +2 in dexterity for his swift quickness, and that was a terrible move. He's about to. That's 3, 4, and then 5, 6. That's still a fail. As much as I want to, handicap it, that's still a fail. So as he budges, he moves up. The picture frames slide down, and he falls, falling on his back. And the picture frames fall over. Now, do the guards hear this? I'm thinking they probably do. But I'm going to roll this one a little 50-50 chance that they hear the picture frames. They do. That is a solid 4. So they do hear the noise. So unfortunately, Red, as clumsy as he is, which he's not on his stats here, that's another character. I think that's another character's clumsy. Trumpy. Never mind. I think I was confusing the word Trumpy for clumsy. So Red falls. The guards hear the noise, and one of them points to the wall and tells his colleague, "Go check out the noise." And then he's like, "Yes, sir." And then the royal guard runs up to the wall, and currently Red is on his back, not injured per se. He's just kind of like trying to rub his back as he's sitting up, and he can hear the royal guard's heavy armor. It's not really, the royal guard doesn't exactly have advantage in dexterity here. He can hear the chinging of noise of the sword and the armor clashing as he's running through the rocks and the dirt. And quickly, Red gets up, is startled. Now, is the city guard still looking over? Let's roll for it. I'm going to say likely. 98, he is not. So the city guard is kind of pacing back and forth, wondering when Red will come back, because again, his 5 minutes are up. And now I have to check something on my computer to make sure I didn't forget. You guys can probably see my elbow. There we go. Okay, almost forgot to keep my music looping. So now Red has to quickly find something to cover himself up or hide. Is there any place to hide nearby? I'm going to say very likely. 65. Just in time as far as very likely. There is. Okay. So he quickly jumps behind that really disgusting huge crate of rainwater between the building and the rainwater. So as he does that, he hides. He can hear the guard stop. And then the guard jumps over the wall and pushes himself up looking. And you can see his head poking up, and he's looking around. As the guard's looking around, he notices the picture frames are kind of all over the place on the floor. But he luckily does not. I'm not going to roll for the hide. I'm going to say that. I'm going to say it's not exactly a dangerous thing to do, but Red does successfully hide. There's no roll for that. I feel like I've rolled a little too much in this episode so far. But in any event, the royal guard is looking around, and the picture frames are falling. He doesn't see Red. Red's pretty small, so that does give him an advantage, and why another reason why I don't roll for it. Suddenly, there's a cat that is running around, as when Red fell, it startled the cat. Didn't meow at first, but you can see there's a cat running by, kind of like running around the picture frames, going the other direction. And the guard sees this. He takes a deep breath and he says, "Oh, damn cat!" And then he lowers himself back on the ground. And Red can see the cat running down the path, and it's actually a really strange-looking cat. It's like a dark red cat that is casually walking, as it was at first maybe frightened, but it's slowed down and it's walking away in the distance. So I'm gonna keep this one in mind. I just thought of a cat, a dark red furred cat. Not sure who it is, not sure why the cat's back here and it's red. Again, it's just a dark-haired cat, red-haired cat. So he's like, just my luck, a cat. And he looks at the wall to make sure this royal guard is not looking over. Meanwhile, the royal guard is walking back to his colleague, and the colleague, because they can't leave the post, there's two in case one of them there's a disruption, which there was. The one walks back and tells his colleague, the other guard, it was just a bloody cat, nothing to worry of. And then the guard's standing there and says, just a cat, once again. That's why I hate this job. And then they just kind of reminisce. They kind of just talk to each other, nothing really important. And so Red got extremely lucky right here, despite the really terrible roll. And he stands up looking around. And so now he knows where the door is, who is posted there, and what some advantage they have with the pathway, the alley that they're in. But it might not be the best course, might not be the best path to take. So Red knows that his time limit is up, so he runs back to the wall that he originally jumped over, climbs over the crate, and slowly looks over to see the guard. The guard's looking right at his face. Now, is the guard alone? I'm going to say, very likely. Yep, the guard's alone, 6. That's exceptional, yes. Now, because of that, I want to see what the guard is doing. So, 32, the crease, 28. Extravagant. Okay, so the guard is trying to not be conspicuous. He's basically trying to keep attention off of Red, while the guard's just standing there randomly in front of a random wall. So the guard's just he's just pacing himself, thinking, and then he looks up and notices Red. Now the guard looks around, doesn't see anybody at the moment, and he does this with his head, like he tells him to jump over, and then no roll required. Red jumps over the wall. So now we're back in the path. Red's with the guard. So let's say he escaped. So, okay. I said that the dark red cat distracted the guard. I want to make that note for myself. The royal guard. So that was a pretty close one, actually, if you think about it. The guard's asking Red, what was that all about? What do you do? Why are you picking over into the castle grounds? And Red says he can't give away all the details. It's still something they're working on with the 4. But he says that he saw something that was very vital in his current objective, but his current mission with the 4. And he has to reconvene with his team who are at the Madison's Maiden's Claw. So the guard he's just stressed out. He's like, okay, but that doesn't explain why you looked over at my own castle's grounds. It's like you're spying on us. You're spying on my kind. And he's not letting Red go without a real explanation for at least why. So he pulls the guard aside, away from the wall. He says, listen, you have to trust me on this one. If what I'm about to tell you doesn't leave either of us, do you understand? And the guard is thinking, okay, tell me. Red looks back and forth. Again, remember, the guy's the same character. He's nervous. He's like, look, we believe, after speaking with your former Captain Waverly, that The commander himself, Fisk, is quite suspicious. We have an interest on that west entrance outside the castle walls, but we don't know why the commander seems to go down there every day at noon for half an hour. I've been tasked to study the exterior of that entrance and learn of the patterns of your fellow royal guard. That is all we know so far. So the guard, I'm thinking, is a newbie, perhaps. And does the guard believe him in what he's saying? I mean, it is, we could roll a skill roll or an oracle roll. I'm going to say, because it's truthful, I'm going to give an advantage. So the sum roll, not just the top two, but a sum roll. Actually, I'm going to do top two because he's nervous and ramble. So, but with +1 willpower. Oh, not bad at all, actually. So that's a 10 with the 9, disregarding the lowest roll, and +1, that's a 10. The guard unfolds his hands. He looks at Red, and he nods. You know what? I've been with the guard for only a few weeks now, and the commander really gives off some really strange vibes. I do notice that he disappears every day around that time, and it does have me and the others questioning his command over us. But I feel like what you're doing is quite risky. You have some kind of alliedship with Captain Waverly, but the new captain, I don't believe you'll get along with. So the new captain he's about to mention, let's start this one. Red quickly says, well, tell me briefly about the new captain. Who is he? What's his name? And let's get our name generator. So we'll grab characters with the usual list. Red is the table, blue is the choice. Okay, this captain will have a upper class surname. So table 3, choice 5, Gruger. Gruger is, I like Hitherian. Hitherian. That's an awesome name. Captain Hitherian. That is a great name. I love it. Captain Hitherian. And it's actually one I can pronounce. So Captain Hitherian. Let's get a note card because I use note cards now for my characters. I made a little upgrade. It's not just one note card now. It's going to be one note card per character. So Captain Hitherian is the new city captain. He works under the commander. And he is apparently also suspicious in some manner. We'll say he's a human male, roughly 40 years old. He is the captain of the city guard, the new captain, for Riverport. And traits, he is going to be, let's roll on the maze table, maze rats. I think maze rats deserves a little more attention recently. So once again, we'll try maybe reputations or hobbies, mannerisms. Let's do personalities. 1-1. He's bitter. Ooh, I like that. So he's bitter. I'm going to do 3 personalities. Bitter. Or I'm sorry, not personalities. Mannerisms and secrets. Or one of these other ones here. Mannerisms. 1-4. He's flipped. I'm gonna say he's cryptic. I like that one right below it, cryptic. And then one more for reputation. I think that might be a good one in general. So table 4, choice 2, Miser. Meiser, not too sure about that one. I'm gonna try. He is scandal. Oh, a slime ball. That's even better. He fits perfectly for a captain. Slime ball. I like that. He's cryptic. He's better. He's a slime ball. That works. So that's our new character for this series. Let's go to our pocket here and put him in the list. So we gotta keep an eye out for Captain Hitherian. And again, the guard that we're talking to, this random guard, we're not going to go into much detail who this random guard is. He just mentions about Captain Therian and his traits and his antics, I should say. So they're talking for a bit, and then there's some people coming. There's just casual passerbys. They walk by, and the captain and Red stop talking. They kind of just looking at each other, keeping their voices down. And Red, when they walk by, Red says, "I have to get back to the tavern. Just maintain your composure. Keep doing what you're doing, and we'll try to reconnect soon with the team. It sounds like there's more than meets the eye with the captain commander." And the guard's like, "Is that a Transformers reference?" No. So, with that said, now I believe it's a good time to go back to the tavern. So I think that's all we're going to focus. That's a solid half an hour actually on the record. Mostly 30, 50. So that's a solid 30 plus minutes for the Reds part in the story. Now we're going to focus on the tavern. So section 8 continued. And we are figuring out what happened to Orchid. There it is. Okay, location. We are outside the tavern, Maiden's Claw. Okay. The team, they're going to circle around to go to the back of the tavern because they are worried about Orchid. So they know they're worried because of what's been happening lately. They think anything out of the ordinary is going to arouse suspicion, and most likely it's necessary to investigate. It could be related to the Darkain. We just don't know. I don't know. I haven't been playing out that far, and I don't really like to. It's the roll of the die in the story. So, or improvisation. Now, the crew walks around. There are windows. They look through the windows. Can they see through? Let's roll for as a team, without Red, obviously. Who has the biggest? All right, Clovis has the best as far as sight. So he's trying to see inside. Can't spot anything. 5, 6 plus 2. That's going to be 7, 8. He can, but the lights again. There's no lights, but he does see just up to the bar table, the island, and he sees some chairs. Now, what does he see? Let's roll for it. So, 4. Benefit. Okay, I think I'm sorry. I keep rolling there. 82. Benefit and Rotten. I'm gonna re-roll the action. I don't think that makes sense. Rotten does. 60. Help. Ooh, Rotten. There's someone in. Oh my God. Okay, this makes sense. There's something rotten happening inside the tavern, and somebody needs help. So maybe, just maybe, it's what, mid-afternoon, and there was most likely a few patrons inside. He can see inside that the lights are off, the candles are not lit, however you want to perceive that. There's no light source inside. Maybe the fireplace is turned off, and he can see barely a few patrons inside, hiding behind a table. As he sees their heads poking over the table, and they're kind of looking around mysteriously. So, patrons inside, hiding, danger. There's something going on. So Clovis, he steps out of the window's way, tells his team, I see someone inside. There's a few. How's Clovis talk? He's heartless. He's like, I see a few of those drunks inside. I think there's something happening in there. It looks like there's some problem. I think there's something going on in there. And Ellis is like, okay, let's try to find a way in. If there's someone in there, why didn't they answer the door? There's obviously something going on. So they don't know. Clovis didn't exactly see because it was a mid-range roll. He couldn't see everything that was happening. He just saw a few patrons drunk Well, he says they're drunk. I'm trying to stay in character, but it's really hard with Clovis when you're kind of in the heat of the moment. Yeah, he doesn't really like. Again, I haven't really been role playing these characters too well. I understand that, and to be honest, I'm kind of phasing out their personalities. But anyhow, uh, Ellis says, "Okay, let's find a way to the back. If they're having trouble, we need to get inside quickly, or you could be in trouble with the others." So they run to the back door, and there is a back door. I'm gonna say, is the back door locked? I'm gonna say nearly certain it's locked. 56. Yep, it's locked. That's a mid-range yes. They try to open the door, but the handle it's locked. And Ellis is like, as expected, it's locked. And he's like, well, if Red was here, we can probably pick the lock. Any of you guys have lock picks? Because Red has lock picks, but they don't. They're like, no, we don't. Well, we can't make a ruckus trying to break in the door down. We gotta figure out another way in. How about we say through the top? Maybe there's a roof access point. And so Ellis looks up. He tries to see if there's any way to climb up the roof, or is there a roof access point? I'm going to say if it's a two-floor tavern with an inn, I'm going to say there is a roof access, very likely. 30, what does that say? 39, there is a roof access point. So, back door's locked, but there is a roof access point. So, there is a stairwell, not a stairwell, a ladder, like a wooden ladder that goes up to the top. Maybe there is a ladder. I'm gonna say there is a ladder on the side because maybe Orchid has problems with birds pooping on top of the roof. So she installed that herself, or someone did. So they point to the ladder on the side. Like Ellis looks to the side of the building, and he taps her shoulder. Boy, there's a ladder right here. You can climb up. So they get to the ladder and they climb up slowly. Now she is an older, frail woman. Can this ladder handle them? I'm going to say very likely. Oh yeah, it can. It's perfect. It's brand new, and maybe she just had this problem recently with the birds. They keep pooping on her roof, and she's getting pissed off. It degrades the value of her building. But they get to the top. There's pigeons. They fly away, and there's bird shit everywhere. And he says jokingly, "Watch your step." So they're climbing on the roof carefully, not to make any crackling noises, crinkling noises. And they see there's a little window access point on the top. It kind of looks like this, like a little, just on the roof itself. It's a window that kind of opens in like that. So they get up to the roof, they look inside, and it's just like an empty storage room at the top of the building. And there's probably some leaves in there because the window is left open. There's probably a bird's nest in there. They look in, there is a bird's nest. There's feathers everywhere. So they're like, wait, if there's a window here, why is there a ladder? So maybe for emergencies, again, plot hole. We'll keep going. So they go inside, they open them, when they climb inside, birds go crazy, they fly out, they're swabbing away the birds, and they notice that there's a not trap door, there's an entry door, like an attic door would have. So they open it slowly to look down, and there is a stairwell going down to a door. So they open up the door, and they walk down the stairs. So I'm going to do the location change. And they're now inside the second floor. And it's a stairwell. So I'm thinking of changing the I'm going to retcon the ladder from the outside, because that doesn't make too much sense. I kind of rolled myself into a corner here. So I'm going to change, again, because it's my story. Let's do not a ladder. There was boxes, just the usual go-to. There was boxes, crates that they stacked on the side to climb. Onto the roof. There we go. That makes a lot more sense. It's pretty conventional method climb up. So it wouldn't make sense if there's a ladder and then there's an open window just for whatever reason. So And actually, as they walk in there, they see there is a nest with some really large eggs, like gigantic eggs, but there's no big bird in there. So I'm going to change it to where it's just pigeons, feathers, to where there's large. They see large eggs in a nest. And then they look at it, and I think who would be most interested in this? I believe Clovis will be intrigued. He's like, my, look at this. He picks a feather up. It's a large red feather. Like, it's huge. But this big from my fingers. So, a large red feather. I'm going to add that to my inventory for Clovis. So, a red feather. Now, does Clovis know what this feather is? Let's do a knowledge check. Does he know what who this feather, what kind of bird this feather belongs to? 7, 8, 9. He does. He believes, to the best of his ability, that this belongs to a phoenix. A very, very rare bird in these parts. Extremely rare. But he believes it's a phoenix. And the others are like, doubtful. They don't believe him, but he thinks it belongs to the phoenix. So, Clovis, I'm going to make a note of this. Thinks a red feather belongs to a phoenix. So, that's very intriguing. Just thought of it, that might actually work out in the end. Okay, now, they see the same door. I'm kind of walking back the story just a bit. They see that trap door. Now, they try to open it. Is it locked? I'm going to say it's not locked. I'm going to say very unlikely. It is locked. Yes, it is. But it's a mid-range yes. They open it. There's some go, but it stops, and they can see there's a lock just in view of when they open it. So it's not locked tightly. It's just kind of loosely locked. So he looks around to see what he has to break it open. There's a hammer, crowbar. He takes his crowbar and tries to break the lock. Now we have to roll for this. Can he break the lock with strength modifier? Shoot. 3, 4, 5. That's a fail. So Ellis can't break it. Let's try the others. He gives the crowbar. Ironically, let's do the jewels because he's the survivor. I'll give him an extra D4 for this. So let's say +1 on the strength. Okay, so he is able to break the lock. So, ignoring the 1 there. 6, 7, 8. It's a mid-range yes. So, Jules breaks the lock. And because it's a partial success, the lock breaks and falls down the stairs. Like, just falls down like a thung, and lands on the bottom of the stairwell. So they know it's a stairwell. They look down and they remain quiet, like hoping that didn't cause a distraction or any attention. They're standing really still. They don't hear anything. No footsteps, no rattling, no commotion downstairs. So they're gonna open the trapdoor or the hatch all the way, and they walk downstairs. So now they're they're on the second floor. Stairwell, and they reach a doorway. The door is just a general handle. I'm gonna say it's open. They open it slowly, and they peek through. Ellis is peeking through. He sees a hallway where the rooms are. Like I said, it kind of doubles as an inn, and he's looking to see if he spots anyone. Now, does he see anything? Is there anybody on the second floor? I'm going to say very unlikely. Is there anyone on the second floor? 93. There is very unlikely. There is not, and it's beyond expectation. So exception no. Let's see what else he spots. Now, not only is there no one there, but 40 enemies. 32. Ooh, fragrant. He can smell a strange aroma coming from downstairs. He smells like there's something out of the ordinary. It's not the usual smell of like the tavern. There's something really distinct that he can smell himself coming through the hallway. It says enemies, but that is the smell of enemies downstairs. He tells the others that there's a really strange smell coming from downstairs. Definitely never smelled this down there before. He's telling them as they're familiar with the insides of the tavern, smells of ale, alcohol, drunks, etc. This is different. So a strange smell from downstairs. Now, is the smell familiar to him? Let's roll a knowledge check. I'm going to say +1 on the bonus here. 6, 7. That's barely a yes. He's smelling it, but he barely recognizes the smell. He tells him he's thinking it smells like something from the sea, like fish. So he thinks it smells like fish. He's barely smelling it, but he believes it's fish. So I'm not really going to give a setback there because I'm not really sure what he can do. Maybe he, I don't, yeah, I'll just leave it at that. It's just a smelling. I really didn't have to roll for it, but I'm going to say he barely smells like fish. Maybe there's a stock room up here for fish. Again, who knows? I don't think there would be a cooler up here, some method. Raw fish, probably. So he pokes his head into the hallway, looks left and right. There's no one there. He tells the others to come on. So they enter the hallway, and they see a stairwell further down. They see the torches are on in the hallway, but it's darker downstairs. So they're going to walk slowly. Their footsteps are creaking the floorboards. They're walking slowly on the edges where it's tighter. If you're walking in the middle of the floorway, the hallway, it's going to creak more. So they're standing on the paths on the sides, and they get to the stairwell. They're going to listen in to see if they can hear anything. Now this will be Ellis. Can he hear anything downstairs? Ooh, that's a 10. +1, that's 11. He does hear something. Let's figure out what he hears. So he hears voices. Let's see what it is. What's the context of the voice? 12. Change. 90. Simple. It's a robbery. That's exactly what I think. It's simple. Change, like asking for change. It's a robbery. But it's a very unique robbery for some reason because the lights are off. Well, maybe they busted in. The tavern is closed. They close the door. They torched out the torches, and they're holding Orchard hostage, or they're asking for everyone's gold pieces. So they hear someone saying, "Okay, you old hag, give us all your gold now before we start gutting you." And I think of that voice. He's recognizing that they are going to be dealing with pirates. So because it's next to the harbor, it only makes sense that there's going to be pirates in here going straight to the first tavern closest to the harbor and robbing it. That's most likely what's going to be happening here. So they walk downstairs. Ellis is going first. He's telling us he's going down, and the stairs turn. He looks down as a railing. He can see two pirates, like actual pirates, standing at the bar with their backs turned to the stairwell, with like a rapier at Orchid as she's counting. She's like opening her drawer of gold, and she's putting it on the table. And there's also a pile of jewelry and other things of valuables on the table from the other patrons who are gathered in the corner, guarded by a third pirate with the sword. And he has it pointed at them as he's looking back at his friends. So Ellis takes a step back, planning out what to do. So there's 3 pirates. This is going to be in the tavern, first floor. There's 3 pirates robbing Orchid at this point. And Ellis looks up. He tells the team, "It's pirates. Robbing Orchid. They're taking all of our gold." And the other 3, or I'm sorry, the other 2 are like, "Shit, we gotta stop them." Yeah. Clovis will be like, "Really? Now, out of all things?" Jules says, "Listen, maybe you can maybe you should give us a." He's wisecracking, so maybe he says, Look, we help her, we get a life supply of ale. How's that sound? And then Clovis is like, okay, agreed. Ellis says, I'm glad you two are on board. Unintended. So they walk down the stairs, and I think they're going to either jump in, spring into action, or because Red is not here, so they're not exactly as sneaky as usual. So I believe Ellis is going to throw his caltrop. Let me really look up. I think caltrops are like spikes. Let me look that up really quick. I need to verify with my source. Yep. Yeah, I was kind of right. They're basically puncturing spikes. They're like little thin, kind of a plus sign looking spike you throw, kind of like iron spikes, but they're gonna throw it. So Ellis is going to quickly throw his spikes at the pirates from the back, or so. Well, who should we throw them at? I think he's going to throw it at the two from their back. So here we have to do an action roll, or we have to just do a roll here. This will be. I'm going to do. You know what? He's going to give it to Jules because he doesn't have a dexterity bonus. So he's going to give it to Jules. He's like, look, he throw these at the two pirates right on the back. They're whispering. Jules steps down. He's going to throw them, chuck them. That could be strength related, actually. I don't know, because dexterity is used with range, so I'm going to stick with ranged. It'll be Jules. Jules is going to throw a handful of the caltrops. So here we go. Ooh, okay, so that's a 6, 7, 8. He throws them, but he only hits one of the pirates. He hits one pirate in the back, and the spikes land in his back. He falls forward, stumbling onto the bar, and the other two turn around. What was that? And then Jules, Ellis, and Clovis. Ellis jumps over the railing, lands on the floor with his weapons drawn. Jules runs down the stairs, pulls the weapon, and then Clovis stands on the stairway on the lowest step, and they all have their weapons drawn. So we're in combat now. Like I mentioned earlier, I ran into Dungeon World. Combat is narrative in this one. I'm going to try that. It's also narrative in World of Dungeons, the one-page system I mentioned. One-page RPG based on Dungeon World. So, let's go. There's no initiative. I think we have the advantage here. Pirates. The first two pirates turn around. The third one is pulling the couch up his back and not cries. He kind of grunts in pain. He says, "You bastards! Who the bloody hell are you?" And the other two are pulling their weapons and kind of getting closer to each other as a team against us three. And Ellis thinks of a quick name of who he is. He says, "We are the four, or we are the three, apparently, and we're here to stop you." That's all he really says. And then the other pirate's like, "That's it? The three? That's pathetic. Men, take these suckers," or what do pirates say? "Take these blokes down," something like that. So the other two charge in, and now let's see, Ellis. Let's get into our combat map here. Okay, so I couldn't find a tavern, but this was the closest interior I found in this battle map I have. So these three are us, the three currently. This is the guard that was holding hostage these 6 patrons that are back here, and then these are the 2 main pirates. This one we struck in the back, so I'm going to lower his XP or HP to 5. They're all armor 5, and then that's Orchid right there. She's in this little bar, this little island. So, just picturing there's tables or stuff around here in the general bar. I'm kind of ignoring these little rooms here. Maybe these are booths. We'll see. I'm more fixated on the center region of this battle map. Okay, so these two run in while the main guy holds Orchid hostage. They run up like this, and then we're going to roll for attack. So, in Dungeon World, if I'm not mistaken, when you roll a 6 or less, you take damage. 7 through 9, you can hit them, but they can also hit you, so they'll require a damage die, which we don't use in this game, in the opposite. 10 plus is a successful attack. So, let's roll for it now. So first, Ellis is going to attack that guy right there with a strength modifier. I'm sorry, attack bonus. In Dungeon Worlds, I think you use your ability trait, ability score. So he rolled a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So he's successful. He does 4 damage plus 1. So the difference is 4 damage with armor 6 plus 1 damage with longsword. So that's 5 damage. He's down to 1. He guts this guy right in the stomach, or right in the side, and he falls back and stumbles back onto the ground. He takes a huge stab to the stomach. The other guy will roll for, I'm sorry, not 2, but actually 3 Clovis. 2 is red and he's not present at the moment. So Clovis will use, I'm sorry, not Clovis. Jules is actually here. Clovis is on a stairwell. The stairwell I'm kind of picturing is just off frame. So Jules will attack with his hunting knife and has a plus attack 1 bonus on the roll. Ooh, that's great rolls today so far for combat. 10 plus 1, that's 11. So that's a huge difference of 5. No bonus. So he's also down to 1. He swings and cuts the guy's through his chest, through his clothing in the armor. Well, armor. It takes heavy damage. He steps back, gutting. He's bleeding out. These two have, and this pirate right here is freaking out. He's like, "Holy!" He says, "Holy hell! What the hell are you guys?" And he takes a step back, and basically morale is now lowered. Orchard's laughing her ass off, and then now this guy he's going to throw his rapier, or he's going to throw a battle knife, a knife at Ellis from the distance. So he's going to throw it, and now we have to see if Ellis can dodge in time. So that'll be with no dexterity bonus. I don't think we have a dexterity bonus. We don't. So does it hit Ellis? Shoot, it does. So the damage is going to be 5, so 10 total, 1 damage. He takes 1 damage. Oh, he is actually hurt. We probably should have healed before we even... I completely forgot to heal my guys. He's really hurt. Ellis takes it to the shoulder. He pulls it out. And then he takes the same knife and throws it back at the main pirate. So let's roll for this. This will be dexterity, which he doesn't have. And that's a fail. The knife goes flying and lands on the bar and cracks open. It breaks a glass, and Orchard yells, "Oi! Watch where you're throwing these things!" And then Ellis is like, "Ah, shoot." So he says, "That would have looked amazing." Then Clovis jumps in with his, let's see, magic-wise, he only has Soothing Elemental, which we haven't used yet. He's going to use his long spear and strike and finish off this one guy. So let's roll for that. There's attack bonus of 1, so that's 8, 9. So that's going to be damage. Oh, he's dead in it. He's dead either way. So that he stabs him right through the stomach, picks him up and throws him off to the side. His body goes flying and crashes into a table. Orchard's like, "Come on! I just bought that!" And then this guard, I think there's gonna be a morale check for their side. So we'll roll a morale check. Let's see. They fail the morale check, so they're going to, they're stuck in battle. They can't flee. So the main pirate, he's going to run up and try to strike Clovis. So Clovis has to dodge, parry, whatever. Let's see if he is able to. He is not able to dodge. So he strikes. We'll roll for attack. He strikes Clovis with his rapier, and 6, 7. That's no damage. That's no damage. It hits Clovis's armor. You hear a ding, and he got really lucky there. Now, Ellis is going to strike back this guy. He jumps forward and strikes with his mace for close range efficiency with attack bonus of 2. 9, 10, 11, he's out. He slices his neck and it bleeds out, and the guy falls back and falls and breaks a chair. And Orchard's like, just gives up. She just kind of bangs the table and puts her head between her hands, her arms. She gives up. And this guy sitting back, he's fearing for his life as he did not expect these three adventurers to come in and ruin their plan. So we're surrounding him like this, and I think he's gonna do something crazy. So let's ask the table, what is he gonna do? I'm thinking he's gonna try something. I'm just curious. 24, control, 63, naturally. Okay, so he's desperate. He's gonna grab a drink from one of these tables and throw it. Again, he's desperate. He's trying to run out. Let's say the entrance is over here, or it's back here, like this side of the tavern. He throws a drink at the closest guy, who would be Jules. So he throws it. Let's just see if Jules can dodge it. It's not be much damage. Jules just kind of casually steps aside. The drink goes crashing into the wall. And they're ganging up on him, kind of intimidating him, like this. Whoops. He's backing up in fear as they're getting closer. And as he backs into the table, Orchid takes a glass and smashes it in the back of the head. And he goes falling forward like this. And he's unconscious. So I'd say he's probably at 2 health. So that's it for the encounter. Let me clear this table so we can go back to the narrative. Okay, so I think that was a pretty awesome way to end that fight. So to recap, we killed 2 pirates and subdued 1, thanks to Orchid. Yeah, subdued 1. Orchid helped. Okay, we have the pirate tied to a bar stool, and he's still unconscious. So, pirate is tied to a bar stool. Okay, so Alice is checking on Orchard and saying, "Are you guys okay? Is everyone hurt?" And Orchard shakes her head and says, "No, we're fine. We're fine. They just came in. They kept asking for gold and something else." And Alice is like, "What else are they asking for? Room?" And then she says, I can't say at the moment. It's personal." And Alice and the team are kind of confused. This is where, while the other patrons are leaving, the door is unlocked. I think one of our characters opens the door and let them know. They leave, knowing they've just been saved. They're thanking us as they walk out. But Orchid is really startled for something. She's very defensive at the moment. And I think Jules would say, "Look, lady, we understand what we just went through, but we just helped you out. Once again, what are you hiding? Why are they here?" And she says, I don't know exactly how they found out, but I believe they were here for my bird." And they look at each other, "You mean the one upstairs?" And she says, "How did you guys know?" She says, we climbed into the top of the roof. We saw the nest, the eggs." And then Clovis shows the feather, and he's like, "You mean this phoenix?" And she takes the leaf out of his hand, or the leaf, takes the feather out of his hand, and hides it. "Don't be taunting that around, showing that to anybody. How'd you know it was a phoenix?" And he's like, "I mean, a red feather. How hard is it going to? A red feather. How hard is it to tell? There's no phoenixes around this area of Exeter." And she says, "Yes, it's a phoenix, but she's been gone for several days now. I don't know where she went. The eggs are getting warm, or they're getting cold." And so she's obviously distressed at this point because she's worried about a bird, but she knows escaped. So they ask her, "Does the phoenix fly? Does the phoenix fly around town? What's the deal?" Orchard says that yes, the phoenix will obviously go search for food and water but she always returns by nightfall. She didn't return last night. So I'm thinking that these pirates saw the phoenix one day while they're at the harbor docking. Maybe they're in disguise. I'm thinking they're in disguise. I'm not the roll for. I'm gonna say they were in disguise. They showed their true colors in the tavern, asking for the bird because they saw the bird laying in the tavern, maybe a week ago, and they waited for the right time to strike. But all the disaster and fights that have been happening kind of delayed their plans. So this is like a little side story going on here. But basically, let's recap what happened here. So Orchid has a rare pet phoenix that is not like chained up or anything. It just kind of flies freely, so pretty careless of her. Or maybe it was tied up. Was her phoenix tied up, like, to the ground, like it couldn't fly away? I mean, she fed it herself. I'm gonna say like very like, or nearly certain actually. 42. Yeah, it was. So it escaped a few days ago somehow, and I'm thinking our team missed the chain, like a cuff on the phoenix's leg, claw or whatever, and the pirates knew of the bird. Maybe they saw it. They saw it recently. So that's all I'm going to go with in this episode. And that was fantastic. So now I think Red is going to walk in through the front door. Let's just say that. Red, he opens the door thinking it's open. Red enters, sees what happened, and he's confused. He sees the disaster, what just happened. The bar, the tables are toppled over. There's blood. There's two dead bodies. He sees the aftermath of the fight that just transpired. And that's it. So Red is just standing there with his arms on his hips, looking around like, what did I miss? Kind of thing. So this was session 8, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I really did. This is probably one of my personal favorites. We did 2 parallel stories, 2 parallel paths, and now they closed up. Now they're rejoined again. And that's really it for this next one. So in the next episode, next session, we're going to find out the reasoning for why the pirates truly did rob this place and wanted the bird. And maybe they just wanted the bird because it's valuable and they want to sell it. They're pirates, so they can be ruthless, and they really have no care in the world, depending on the source material. So, and then Red is going to inform his team about what he discovered regarding the entrance on the castle. So, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.